The Labor Department released last month's employment numbers, and after two disappointing reports for August and September, October was a positive surprise. Unemployment came in at 4.6%, better than economists expected.
They also expected about 400,000 jobs to be added to the economy. That number came in at 531,000, so it beat that. Joining us now for a breakdown of the report is Chris Markowski from the Watchdog on Wall Street. Chris, I wanted to point out something since we were just talking to Leo. Among the numbers, transportation and warehousing, 54,000 people hired there, and that should help a little bit with the supply chain. I'm assuming that includes some truckers, so that's a good direction at least.
Yeah, we could probably double it, and we'd probably be much better at this point in time. But, you kind of think about that and the rules for truckers. You talk about a socially distanced job. You're in a cab by yourself. Why in the world would you need to be vaccinated? But, yeah, it was actually a great report today. It was actually in the Wall Street Journal talking about the problems in California. And it's actually regulations which are really making it very, very difficult in regards to independent contractor truckers not even being able to work in the state and going and basically helping with that supply chain.
Yeah, shortly after these job numbers were released, President Biden took full credit for them. Listen.
Over 5.5 million jobs. Unemployment down a record pace to 4.6%. And before we passed the rescue plan, forecasters said it would take to the end of 2023, to get to 4.6 unemployment rate. Today, we've reached that rate 2 years before forecasters thought it was possible. I would humbly suggest this is a significant improvement from when I took office and a sign that we're on the right track.
But if you take a closer look at the numbers, specifically women, 2.4 million fewer jobs than in February 2020. Also for Black Americans, the unemployment rate this month higher than for both Hispanics, Asians, and white workers. And then also the all-important labor participation rate, which is still holding steady, and we need to have that go back up, right?
Well, one of the higher labor participation rates we had was right before COVID started. I think it was a little over 63%. Now we're down to 1970s levels, around 71. Everyone needs to understand that also in September, the extended unemployment went away. So this is the first jobs report we had when that thing went by the wayside. So I think that's helped as well. But, we have over 100 million plus Americans that are not in the labor force right now. Many of them made conscious decisions to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to take a lower standard of living. There's enough government aid and enough government help where I don't have to go back to work. This is the issue that we can tie in this Build Back Better plan, which just adds more entitlements, which is going to, again, keep that labor participation rate at record lows.
Because people are getting paid to stay at home. So if this is passed, we don't know whether it will be, but if it is, Chris, there are a lot of people that feel like the inflation we're seeing in various locations isn't just about the supply chain, but it's about all the money being dumped into the economy, especially to people staying at home, not to work. How does this affect the economy?
Well, again, I think you need to have people back at work for the economy to do well. I know that necessity is a mother of invention, and technology companies will come up with new ways in helping fast food places and whatever it may be. But I don't think it's a very American way to live. I think that trying to pay people and give them handout after handout and keeping them home is not what we're all about. This bill that they're putting forward is downright fraudulent in how they're advertising it at this point in time. Once government programs start, they don't stop. Right. And they're pricing these things out over, one of them, the child tax credit, just over a year. What Republican next year in an election year, midterm year, is going to say, let's take those checks away that are going out to so many Americans? It's not going to happen. And that's the problem, because all of these entitlements continue to grow and grow and grow.
Yeah,
And that's what happens when they
Right.
shortened it. So the number comes down, but the programs stay in.
Right. And then also on top of all of this, you have these vaccine mandates and what the White House just announced that for businesses having 100 employees or more, they're going to charge them $14,000 per violation for unvaccinated workers. That doesn't exactly do much to encourage more people to go back into the workforce or for employers to hire.
Yeah, that's just what businesses want. They got to deal with an 80,000-page tax code and tons of federal regulations. Now we got OSHA breathing down the backs, and they got to be a police force to make sure that their unvaccinated people are wearing masks. And again, this is going to get tied up in courts in various different places where states are going to say you don't have to abide by that. And it's going to get into a bit of a match between the federal government and states like Florida and Texas and some of the other ones out there. Again, I don't know what businesses are going to do. They're going to obviously going to have to say, hey, either you're vaccinated or you're out. They're not going to want to deal with having that type of a fine. If it's repeated fines, it could get into the hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right.
Not to mention the fact that people look at this and they say to themselves, what if I had 99 employees? What difference does it make?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
That's right. And by the way, if only there were a pill that you could take when you get sick. Oh, now there is one from Merck. There is one from Pfizer. There's some options out there, so more and more pressure. Chris, and then also to remind people that Wharton Business School, the University of Pennsylvania, estimates $4 trillion of a cost to these programs, not zero cost as it's being
I think
sold.
that's why they're not waiting for the CBO score, because they know that
don't want
once
it.
that comes out, that people are going to see it doesn't really cost $1.75 trillion.
All right, Chris, thank you so much. Chris Markowski.
Thank you.